Hello and welcome to the 50-cent tour of Thursday, May 23rd, 2013. Please find a seat on the Liberty Bus and we will begin our tour. Lots of different ideas today. I want to get this out of the way because it is big news. Man, woman arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to murder in Woowich attack. This happened in England. Just this crazy circumstance where an Islamic guy, I believe, that's what I've read, hacked up this military person. And it's in one respect, I don't know why so much focus is given to it. It's like one brutal killing, but it was very public and it was obviously terrorism. I mean, it was self-proclaimed terrorism. I guess for no other reason, it's helpful to reference this so that we can recognize real terrorism as opposed to false flag terrorism. They look pretty different. The resource level is quite different. There's a lot of interesting stuff that could be said about what happened, but it's murder. I'm not really that interested in murder. I'm sad. But in the perspective of other things that are going on in the world, like I said, I'm a little surprised that it's getting so much attention. World Bank insider blows whistle on corruption, Federal Reserve media. We just keep hearing about more information coming to the forefront, and it really feels like there's a shift, and more about that later, but it's beginning to seem very likely that we could see some fundamental changes in the near future. And on the nasaranews.blogspot.com website, John McAfee writes all the time just little blurbs at the top of the page that aren't actually articles. And what he's been writing lately is fascinating, that the Fed is coming to an end and the IRS is coming to an end, and it seems because of some of the mainstream news articles that are coming out, some things that are coming to light, it seems as if that could actually be reality. Treasury Secretary ready to deploy extraordinary measures as U.S. hits debt limit again. Well, a global financial reset would be an extraordinary measure, wouldn't it? And I believe it's possible that we may see that very soon. And I'm not, betting the farm on it, but it's a distinct possibility. And if it happens, this lady will definitely be one of the players. So, head of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, in court charged with embezzlement and fraud. Is this the cabal trying to hold her back, and through holding her back, trying to prevent the global financial reset? I don't know. People who say that it's coming say that it is coming and that it can't be stopped. So we'll just watch all this play out. And moving into more about what's going on with internet spying, as I've said before, if we have a restored republic, if we get our constitutional republic back, if the financial system is reset, I believe that the cabal, the Illuminati, the Bilderbergers, whatever you want to call them, are going to try to maintain their stranglehold on us through electronics and the internet. The government wants a backdoor into your online communications. And I've talked about Google and what's been going on with that. There is also the possibility of this new trade agreement that has a portion that addresses the internet. This is a 4-minute 52-second video that explains the potential very well, very simply. TPP, the biggest threat to the internet you've probably never heard of. Nobody knows exactly what it contains because the public is not permitted to participate in the writing of the agreement or even know what's in it. Someone leaked some information, and that leaked information is what this video is based on. Google abandons open standards for instant messaging. See, Google is going to be closing down more and more tighter control. The company is replacing the existing talk platform with a new one called Hangouts that sharply diminishes support for the open messaging protocol known as XMPP, and also removes the option to disable the archiving of all chat communications. These changes represent a switch from open protocols to proprietary ones, and a clear step backward for many users. I was talking to somebody who has an older iPhone and does not accept any of the software updates because, as he said, every time he accepts an update, he has less capability on his phone. So these technologies that have been sold to us as, broadening our horizons, they're now being turned on us to take things away from us that we once had. It used to be, my friend was reminding me that you used to be able to take your iPod, plug it into anybody's computer, and get some of their music. If, that's just sharing. You would loan somebody a CD, right? Well, you can't do that anymore. Just try to plug your iPod or your iPhone into somebody else's computer, man. And now for something a little more lighthearted, Beavis and Butthead discover Infowars. Mike Judge is a guest on Alex Jones today. I happen to be a fan. I'm okay with Beavis and Butthead. I definitely find some of it very funny. Saw the movies in theaters. I'm confessing here. I enjoyed King of the Hill, and I loved Office Space. Who didn't, right? And I enjoy Idiocracy. So, yes, I'm a Mike Judge fan. And some of the points that he's making have to do with this, obviously, Idiocracy. Modern life is making us dumber. This is a really interesting article. Scientists say that we have much smaller brains than our ancestors had 20,000 years ago. Well, they had to be constantly on the move, constantly ready to fight, constantly, there was probably a lot of pressure then. Although, once they invented beer, I think things calmed down a little bit. But they were challenged a lot, and challenges make us stronger. We don't like challenges typically, but I consider it a very significant lesson in nature that the butterfly or the moth has to struggle to emerge from the cocoon. And if you cut away the cocoon, they will not develop properly. They will be stunted. And, it's the struggle sometimes that helps us to grow. But there are some very practical things here. There are several theories for why we are getting dumber, including the first two come from Huffington Post article. Women of high intelligence tend to have fewer children. Now that right there is right off the screen of Idiocracy. That was one of the things that happened in the beginning of Idiocracy. That's why one of the significant reasons why people became dumber in that movie. Reduction in human intelligence would have begun at the time that genetic selection became more relaxed. Well, we've got that. And I have wondered about that at times. But we should be able to challenge ourselves, and maybe the struggle is not, we don't have the physical struggle, maybe sometimes we don't even have the mental struggle, but we can still challenge ourselves to go and do the difficult things so that we develop. Humans evolved to eat a lot of omega-3s, exercise boosts intelligence. There are definitely some things here that we can do something about. Toxic chemicals in the environment can reduce intelligence. And, you know, we can detox, we can chelate, we can find ways to become healthier. And, you know, just challenging ourselves to learn new things no matter what our age, to grow intellectually, challenge our children, homeschool. You know, the thing about school is, in a way, it limits you because you become accustomed to learning in this setting. If we can train ourselves to learn continually in every setting, train our children to do that, we're going to grow in intelligence. And nurture genius by bucking the system. That's right. Autistic boy with higher IQ than Einstein discovers his gift after removal from state-run therapy. And I'll just leave it at that because I'm spending a lot of time on this and I want to move on. Breaking news: China destroys 3 U.S. shipments of GM corn. It's not good enough for them. We should certainly take a clue and stop buying genetically modified foods. I mean, how difficult is that? Over 800 world scientists agree GM crops are nothing short of a bio-war on our food. This is one of those points where, hey, exercise your brain and figure things out and stop buying genetically modified food. Stop buying from these companies. We don't need to. There are plenty of other food sources. Grow your own. And now I'm jumping back a little bit to what I mentioned in the beginning, the potential for significant change. When you see the press begin to have this kind of a shift, Associated Press chief starts to sound like Alex Jones, government is unconstitutional. And you know, we've judged these people and said that they were bought and paid for. Some of them may have been operating just out of fear for their own lives. And I know Cheryl Atkinson's name has been in the news a lot as a person who was targeted in all this. She actually went to the prison where Ian Garland, my friend's friend who was jailed related to Fast and Furious, he was a federal firearms licensee and was set up, framed as a part of Fast and Furious. When he was being held, before he was sentenced, being held without bail for years, this was like a year and a half, Cheryl Atkinson became aware of it and went to interview him and was denied access to him. So I'm wondering now, you know, I've been hating on the press, but I'm beginning to wonder whether they may have just had a really tight lid put on them. And I don't know if you remember when, I think it was the CNN guy who allowed a story to be broken. One of his children and their nanny was killed, murdered in his home. So I think these people have been walking a tightrope, and some of them may actually be ready to burst out and start telling the truth about things. Ann Coulter, not one of my favorite people. You know, I kind of consider her borderline one of the Fox Blondes. But a friend referred me to this article, and it's an interesting article. When did we vote to become Mexico? And it looks at these things in kind of a similar way to that in which liberty and truth people look at things. So, you know, if some of these reporters, journalists have been wanting to tell the truth, how frustrating it must be for them and must have been for them to watch, you know, rank amateurs break some of these big stories and not be able to participate and join in the fun, you know. So I'm wondering how much we're going to see some of these people show that they are actually much more awake than they have let on up to this point. And here's our good news for the day. Bee venom can kill HIV, study says. We have to wonder, I mean, the way I think, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not really out to get me. Are they crafting genetically modified crops intentionally to harm bees? Maybe bees are holding the secret to some other significant cures and helpful substances that can change our existence. So God love, bless, and save the bees. The 50-cent tour of the day is a presentation of She Who Will Walk in the Dark Productions. Thank you for being with us on this tour. The dawn is coming. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We're winding down to a 3-day weekend, so that'll be fun. Hopefully we'll all have a great weekend. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.